Michigan is really, really strong. They're going to have an opportunity to maybe potentially get to the college playoff and be able to go against Bama, Notre Dame at number 3, Buckeyes at number 5. You can take them off the list. Joey Bosa done. Next game you see him, Nicky Bosa. Next game you see him going to be in pro football. Miami defense, Miami not Vice, not nice. Gators down in Florida, not for real. 1-3. Yeah, okay.
Next game you're going to see Nicky Bosa. Yeah.
Yes,
next game you're seeing Nicky Bosa see. He's going to be playing for the Buffalo Bills. How about that prediction?
That's more bad news.
And I know. And Michigan, by the way, Michigan played one bad quarter of defense all year. The first quarter of their season against Notre Dame. Since then, that defense has been spectacular.
We got to go viral, because that's what it says in the teleprompter. Check out this video. It's a guy showing off his new tattoo. Yes, on his back is a tattooed version of Michael Jordan's jersey. That is permanent, my friend. That's going to be with you for a very long time.
I mean, it is brilliantly done by the artist.
However,
like how realistic that looks is amazing artwork. But this guy is a doofus.
Like, I need to see his face. Turn around, my friend.
No, I mean, the face probably got some tats on it as well. This is someone who's decided that he does not need the mainstream economy. I'm guessing this fella might be self-employed.
It's a tribute to the greatest basketball player ever. That's how you know that you're the greatest ever, when people start changing their body and start printing stuff permanently, compared to, I mean, LeBron got his own tattoo. He got his own thing on the back, like, I'm the best. But get somebody else. When someone else does that, then you know you're the best. You can't put chosen one on your own.
I would love
to see Nick Wright with the chosen one on his back. That's what I wanted to see.
I've got a few tattoos of people's names. They are all my family. I'm not going outside of that box. I know you asked me if I was getting CC tattooed on my other finger. I said no. However, to get back to your point, I would love if this was a clip of one of the dozens of people that has LeBron's face tattooed on him, and I said, that's why he's the greatest ever. See, would have thrown something at me, but Jordan,
you're right. I would have changed it up. You're right. Give me that. What you say? What you say?
I have
who's the greatest
knuckle.
No, wait. Who's the greatest ever? Who? Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Cry uncle.
No, I won't say. God, dog it. That hurt.
Start your morning.
I punched a door. Losing a bet.
Brought to you by the unexpected energy of ExxonMobil. Red Sox take game 1 of the series 8-4 last night. Clayton Kershaw struggled on the mound, gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. Nick, what was the key to the Red Sox win?
As C pointed out earlier, they were excellent with runners in scoring position, and the Dodgers weren't. Kershaw struggled again. Last year, Game 1 of the World Series, he was awesome. Then in Game 5, he struggled. This year, Game 1, he struggled. Also, didn't seem like they were that familiar with Fenway Park. First batter of the game, David Freese can't get that pop fly in foul territory, set up a big inning.
And we can't expect a National League team to be familiar with that park. That's one of the advantages, but not coming through in the clutch, runners in scoring position. Red Sox, the reason why they won 108 games, they did come through. Dodgers didn't quite get it done last night.
1 for 7
tonight.
Last night.
To the NFL, Everson Griffin will return to the Vikings today. Griffin has been away from the team since week 3, dealing with mental health issues. Chris, how big of an impact can Griffin make for the Vikings?
This is a huge impact, and I'm glad because of Kevin Love and what he went through last year that we have far more sensibilities to players who have a cry for some type of help, and they were in a crisis situation. The Vikings, I know the staff there, and I know that Rick Spielman and everyone there, they're trying to do everything they can to get Everson the best care as possible. Him being reassimilated to the team, beginning team activities is a very, very good sign. But, man, this was a scary situation last month. I mean, they could have had something worse happen in Minneapolis.
Listen, I'm thrilled he's back with the team, but I'm also thrilled that a month ago this didn't go really sideways. Like, we don't have the best infrastructure for dealing with people in this country, dealing with the mental health crisis. A lot of times people get scared. They see a big guy acting crazy. They call the police, and it goes really sideways. So the Vikings got him the help immediately, and on the field, field, he's an excellent player. He might be their best D-line.
And he's an inspirational leader there. He's self-made, not necessarily the high top 10 draft pick, but he's made himself into a player. He got the big contract because they rewarded him for his hard work. He's built his body, his overall strength. He was only a situational player when he first came into the league.
All right, moving on. The Patriots getting ready for the Bills on Monday night. Bill Belichick had some high praise for his running back, James White. Belichick said White, quote, asks questions like a coach would ask questions. See, does that surprise you?
No. I've been coaching James White with him and his parents. He comes from a great family. James White, that should be his next profession. He should coach football. He's a student of the game, very person who is selfless. He understands the teamwork, the unity. He loves football. He loves doing the small things, the ugly, gritty things about football. So, no, Belichick is right. When they drafted him, I said, man, this kid is born the Patriot way, man. His parents, the way he was raised, the way he's participated in team sport, also a great baseball player, man. He's one of the best kids I've ever been associated with on and off the field. His overall character is, man, it's one of the best of all the people that I coached.
James White is one of the more underrated players in the league as far as what his impact on winning is. Like, what he does for that Patriots team, being a guy who can catch out of the backfield as well as he does. I mean, he scored 20 points in the Super Bowl comeback. Like, he has been an outstanding player for them.
All right, moving on to the train wreck that has been the Oakland Raiders. A report in The Athletic said quarterback Derek Carr had a fractured relationship with his teammates and that he was actually seen crying after taking this big hit against the Seahawks. Now, Carr addressed this matter on Twitter, basically saying, I was not crying. Said, on the ground, I yelled, get me up, get me. Then I got to the sideline and yelled again. Not one tear, not one time. That is the truth. People will click on it because it sounds crazy, but stop playing with me. All right, Chris, I'm curious what your reaction to this was.
It's a tough one right here because the fact that not only in football, and regardless of what the rules are, there's a certain amount of toughness that is required to be a player. And in judging the quarterbacks in this era that we're playing in, we can't even really judge them on the toughness that other quarterbacks that I saw, Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, man, what they went through compared to these quarterbacks. So I do believe that you can get a locker room that can be fractured over something like this. If the team doesn't think he's as good, the team thinks that they might baby him. They think that the rules might be a little bit different for him. I could see how a team, and I could see how guys on the team would be upset about their quarterback crying on the field. Now, I'm just going full disclosure. I have cried in football. From the time I was 8 years old, losing was not something I ever accepted or did well at it. But I had one rule with my ex-wife. I ain't gonna make myself look bad in front of these people, but when I get to the car, all right, I will cry. I have spent many days leaving the locker room crying, but I've been hurt, I've been injured, I've been knocked out of games. None of those times I cried, but I cried in disappointment, in bitterness of just not understanding why my teams didn't win more. But I could see guys in the locker room
questioning you. Listen,
oh, absolutely.
This is, I'm not likes to fight guy. I'm not this guy that says, oh, men have to act this certain way. And it's different in football, man. Like, if there's anything close to a caveman, almost Neanderthal mentality, it's NFL locker rooms. And it might be one thing that some men at work need a good cry every now and again, and we should be okay with that maybe. Man, you can't do it on the football field. Not when you got to be the leader of those other guys. Like, and I am, again, people will tweet me, oh, Nick, how would you? I would be sobbing from the moment before anyone hit me if I was out there. But that's one of the reasons I ain't out there. And so, like, it's one thing what you're describing, which is almost I've seen, for example, Odell show this type of emotion on the sideline out of frustration, but not out of injury, not out of and we've seen guys at times shed tears being carted off, I think because they are disappointed over knowing
the pain.
And the reality. The reality hit when you are injured and you have a serious injury, because there's an amount of shock that goes over your body that it is remarkably not as painful in that moment, there's a mechanism in your body that allows you to be able to go into a certain amount of shock that you don't necessarily feel the pain, but the overall disappointment, knowing the finality, knowing this could alter your career, those things are real.
Just quickly, before we move on, right or wrong, if he did cry, do players look at that as a sign of, I don't like to use the word weakness, but
no,
this
weakness,
can't,
that's what it is.
Okay, maybe weakness in leadership. Like,
yes.
Can this guy be our leader if we assume that he was crying on the field from getting his...
I feel like at certain stages, in athletics, you know this in middle school, you expect a certain thing. In high school, you expect a certain thing. I expect the crying to stop in college. All the guys that's crying in college, team pride and all that, I don't expect them to be playing professional football, getting paid for it. Now, if you can't stomach the pain of getting hit, it's going to be hard for you to be a leader. All right? Now, maybe if he was a kicker or something like that, maybe if he was a diva wide receiver, we might make some exception for it. But as a quarterback, as a leader of your organization, no. Tom Brady, as much as he wanted to, when he hurt his knee, they tried to cart him off. He denied that. He walked off that field because that's one of the things as a player that you want to always control. Eric, the guy got paralyzed, partially paralyzed in Rutgers.
Eric Gagne. No, Eric
go ahead. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing about he said he wanted to walk off the field. Remember, he went back. Eric LeGrand. He went back to that same spot that he got knocked out on that field because, and I can understand Carson. I wanted to get helped up because that's the mentality. Man, you don't want to ever be crying on the field, and you don't want to be on that field, and they have to just help you off. You can't help yourself. And that's what we saw with Tom Brady.
And just very quickly, none of us know if he cried.
Right.
But at this point, it's one of those things where it's like the Marshawn Lynch and the Super Bowl thing. If enough people in the locker room believe it, it doesn't matter what the truth is. Like, if enough people believe that happened, it might be totally unfair to Derek, but it doesn't matter what actually happened.
And it goes towards the narrative. And